Hello everyone, it is Wednesday, November 29th, 2017. Of course, today was New Comic Book Day, which means right now is New Comic Book Video Day. Now, if you've been collecting for any amount of time, you realize that if a month has 5 Wednesdays, which this was the 5th Wednesday of the month, the comic book pickings are usually very, very slim, and today was no different. So I am going to show you some of the books I picked up. I picked up a couple new ones and some back issue stuff. Not a lot though, just a few. I picked up 3 12 centers the other day. I'll show those. And then I've been getting a lot of actually a lot of messages from viewers saying, hey, when you go to conventions, do you ever get commissions from comic book artists? I do have some original comic book art. I'm going to show you a couple of things that I have. I have a lot more. In the background, as you can see, I have a lot of sports autographs because I'm a big sports guy. But we're getting ready to change that out, and we're going to put some original comic book art up there. So hopefully you'll like that in the future. 2 to 3 weeks, you're going to see some comic book art in the background. So let's jump right into the books. First one I picked up, Back Issues, Tarot 105. I like this storyline. I like the book. It's 106, Halloween right there. Can't go wrong with some Halloween. And 107, not looking too good for the skeleton with the snowmen. So this is a book that I like. It's an adult-natured book. But I've always enjoyed the story. I usually don't show a lot of them. I usually just keep those and put them aside because a lot of people really aren't into that book, but I like it. And the comic book shop I go to buys them and gets them in, so I'm able to keep up with the storyline. Spawn 280. I don't do a lot of Spawn, but apparently there is a new character this week. So Spawn 280. Haven't had a chance to read that. I only read one book. When I was at the place, a friend of mine was there and said, hey, look, a first print of Kill the Minotaur, super high grade. Now, for those of you who don't know, Kill the Minotaur is an Image book, and it has a TV/movie deal with Robert Kirkman, of course, of Walking Dead fame, as the executive producer. So if you can find the first prints, Kill the Minotaur, pick a couple up because you never know on that. I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but I will. Coolest cover of the week. If a cover catches my eye, I'll buy it because I still remember buying books as a kid, looking at the cool cover. So if I see a cover that's just really nice, I'm going to pick it up. And that was this week's Old Man Logan number 31. It's part 1 of the Scarlet Samurai. And I just loved that cover when I saw it. That knife is getting ready to do some serious damage into his back. And the big book today, Batman Annual number 2. If you have not had a chance to read this, this was the only book I read today. And let me tell you something. The story was excellent. And there was a great twist at the end of it. You started reading the story, you're like, okay, here's a little, something going on here. And then it completely changes at the end. And then it fast forward and just really, really good. So Batman Annual number 2. And that was all the new books I picked up, or the most recent books I picked up. I did pick up 3 12 centers. We've been talking about the 12 centers on the past videos where I'm trying to find things. If I find it in a mid to mid-grade and up, and again, mid-grade to me, 5.0, 7.5. When you get to the 8, 8.5, you're getting into the upper grades on these books. If I have a chance to buy them at a good price, I'm going to buy them all day. So I picked these up. Action Comics number 368. Fine Plus. I picked this up because it's Joe Kubert, and it's not a Our Army at War or a Sergeant Rock. Of course, he made a big name for himself. He was always a great comic book artist. We know that. We're not denying that or arguing that. But he was known for Sergeant Rock, Our Army at War. But this was the Adam Hawkman 41. In a fine condition. Color just pops on that right there. Really, really nice. And again, my grading is a lot more difficult than other people's grading, so this is probably higher than a fine, but I'm very comfortable in a fine with that. And my favorite book, I have a few of these, but every time I see the cover and it's in good condition, I buy it. Neil Adams did the cover on this. To me, this is one of his iconic covers. I love this cover. People that I know love this cover. It doesn't get a lot of action. But it's Superman number 215. Standing there in front of Lois Lane's tombstone. I just always loved that cover ever since I saw it. I saw it again when I had a chance to buy it, and I picked it up. I graded this one a fine, very fine. Again, really nice color on that. Just looks really, really nice. So that's what I picked up there. Those are the 3 old books and then a few new ones I picked up. Now, I've been getting a lot of comments about, hey, or messages, hey, you know, show us some original artwork if you have it. And I do have some pieces I'll show you. And the first one I'm going to show you is from an artist named Eddie Nunez. I met him 6 or 7 years ago here in town. He had a little table in Artist Alley. He's done some Deadpool, some Batman stuff, Ninja Turtles, a lot of independent press. Not a big artist. Kind of a, you know, under the radar type guy. Super nice guy, selling stuff. You know, these young artists got to make money. And so this was on his table. He gave me a great price. I'm like, I'm jumping all over this. There's that. Just love that piece of work. And then local artist here in Las Vegas, Daryl Skelton. A lot of you may know him. And he has done Star Trek. He did a lot of comic strips. He's done a lot of comic book stuff. Not big stuff, but he's just a super nice guy, super talented. And every time I see him, I try to get an original piece for him. And I got this in 2014. Of course, I told him to do something zombie with a Friday the 13th feel. And so he came up with this for me. So the first part, the first half. And the bottom right there. And there's like Jason. It's like Jason coming out of his own grave with his mask. Absolutely love that piece. Loved it, loved it. And then the following year, 2015, that's when I was starting to get my shop going. We're talking local shop, small local show here. And we're just BSing back and forth. And he said, how's it going? I told him, you know, I'm trying to open up a little shop. And it's called Arkham. We were talking about it. And I said, here's some money. Draw me a picture, just, you know, artist choice, just whatever. You know what I like, artist choice. So we came up with this. There's the first part, like the Joker owning a comic shop. Like this case right there, selling Robin's items. Absolutely love this. And these are big pieces of artwork right here. So that's what I got on that there. So there's a couple of original art pieces. And I'll show more if you guys like that. Because I have a lot of, you know, I always try to get the artist to get something when I go to shows, especially young artists. You know, because you just never know. You never know when the next Todd McFarlane's going to pop or whatnot. So I buy art, throw it in the closet, and there it goes. So a couple weeks ago, or a week ago, I did a video on comic book grading, and I got a lot of great response on it. And so I like to sit and watch YouTube, and I watch what other people do, how they grade books. That's just what I do. So I found a guy on YouTube, and he was like, you know, I'm going to show you how I grade books, and we're going to do 9.2s. I'm watching it, and he has a great camera setup. You know, I remember I told you I don't have a great camera setup. I have this camera. That's a cell phone that I am able to put videos up on YouTube for. So he comes up, and he gets this book, and he lays it down. He's got the double camera going, and he's like, you know, oh, I see a couple creases here in the upper corner. And you can see the color breaks. And he goes down the book, and the right side of the book looks real nice, and the bottom looks good. And then he goes up the spine, and he's like, okay, I see, you know, a spine break here, and a spine break here, and a spine break here, and there's a small tear at the cover. And he flips the book over, and he's like, you know, the back cover's kind of dirty, but, you know, that doesn't take away from the grade of the book. Okay, there's red flag number 1 to me. So I'm just waiting to see what he's going to grade this out at. So he's like, goes back in and says, you know, the dirty cover really doesn't mean anything, doesn't take away from the book, and there's a couple creases here, and the 4 or 5 color breaks on the spine, and he's like, you know, but I'm going to give this book a 9.2. Okay, a 9.2, you can give it whatever you want. You can say it's a 9.8. It's not a 9.2. It's certainly not a 9, not with color breaks, dirty back cover. Now, we talked about that in the videos. People look at books, and if the book presents well, this book presents well, that's going to be nice. And people see that. This doesn't have spine breaks. This doesn't have that. I gave this a 7. But again, I'm tougher than most. And this is where it came down to, is when you're sitting there trying to get people to grade books, they're just throwing these wild grades out there because they just assume that, you know, comic books have become so popular in the past 8 years or so that people are just buying anything old and trying to make their money, make their killing on comic books. That's the retirement down the road. Vintage books, you can do that, okay, but when you get people that don't know and they're buying books they think are a certain grade and that book was basically 3 grades above what it should have been, it hurts that. It hurts the industry because people get soured on it. So, you know, that's just kind of a little rant right there because I hate people who can't grade a book properly or overgrade their books so much that it's just bad for everybody. So there was that. Again, just me kind of doing something. So showed you some original art, showed you a couple of vintage books, the Neal Adams, I love that one, and the new book, Small Week. Hopefully it'll get bigger next week. So that's pretty much what we have right now. I want to thank everybody, like I do every week, for the support, the positive comments, the good feedback. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like the video, do what you're going to do. But as always, if you didn't like the video, nothing I can do for you. Have a great night.